Hi everyone, the following recording of myself was done on the 23rd of March 2020. It's time to piss some people off. So, what's this all about? Let's talk about it. What's the end game? Why one world government? Right? End game, they need to get rid of all the money. They need to get rid of all the physical money.
Bank branches and ATMs will start disappearing across the country as the pandemic shifts Australians further towards a cashless economy. The use of cash has more than halved as many retailers switch to cards and phone payments, transforming the way we use money.
It's the unintended cost of avoiding close contact that big banks say they've achieved in 10 weeks what it planned to take 5 years. The big four banks have closed 170 branches during the lockdown. Some may not reopen. Australia's 28,000 ATM machines could drop to as few as 15,000 and cheques will be consigned to history.
We're on track to become like Sweden, the world's leading cashless economy, where just 13% of transactions are done with cash. And the government has been forced to legislate to guarantee the access to cash for those who need to or prefer using it.
Why get rid of the physical money? Because if you want to control masses, you need people completely unplugged from the world. Can't buy their own food, can't support themselves, right? At the moment, if they wanted to, try and have their way with everybody, well, people are going to form militias and all the other stuff and rob, pillage and steal and whatever they need to form a resistance to work against these guys. So in order for them to have a seamless transaction, the first thing they need to do is get rid of all the money. All physical money is to be abolished. Right? Why one world government? Because then it's one decision to get rid of all the money. Because these guys have got a plan. These guys have got a serious plan for us. And by the end of it, it's to have full total control.
America ain't about what the fuck happens to you. America is about what the fuck you do when the shit happens to you. So now, I have to come back and tell my people they finna fuck us. When you go home into your 2012, understand they already have concentration camps in the United States of motherfucking America that they've been building for 4 years now. And the question is, who in the fuck is you finna put in there? We already got a prison, and that motherfucker is so passionate.
Learned theologians have stated that Lucifer, Satan, or called the head of the forces of evil simply the devil, knows he did wrong and knows that he was wrong. He is a pure spirit and therefore indestructible. Knowing he is wrong, he still is determined to drag as many souls as possible into hell with him to share his misery. This being a fact, our duty is clear. We have to make known the truth in this regard to as many others as quickly as possible so they can avoid the snares and pitfalls set by those who serve the devil's purpose and penetrate the lies and deceits of those who wander about the world seeking the ruin of souls. Weishaupt's plot requires the following. Number 1. Abolition of all ordered national governments. Number 2. Abolition of inheritance. Number 3. Abolition of private property. Number 4. Abolition of patriotism. Number 5. Abolition of the individual home and family life as the self from which all civilizations have stemmed. Number 6. Abolition of all religions established and existing so that the Luciferian ideology of totalitarianism may be imposed on mankind.
So why get rid of all the money? Why do they need to get rid of all the physical money? Because they want to put a microchip in everybody. The end game is to put a microchip in every single human on the planet.
When Elias Brotberger goes to work, he doesn't need ID. And he doesn't need money. In fact, much of what he needs to get through the day is hidden right there, just below the surface, in his hand.
You like to touch it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, weird. Yeah, it's like a grain of rice.
Yeah, a grain of rice.
Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
Yeah, it's all in chip, so I use it like to get around the building.
Buy snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's buy some snacks.
Exactly.
So I can't open it.
No.
Okay.
So what I need to do is I need to first blip my chip, and it will log me in, and from there I get access to the fridge.
In Sweden, the microchips are already here.
The microchip implants use the same technology that's in contactless credit cards.
Which have made cash pretty much obsolete in Sweden.
No cash.
Everyone is tracked. Everyone is a number. They know where you are any day, any time, anywhere. Think about it. Think about what's happening and really ask yourself, is this about a sickness? Is this really about a sickness? Because I've got news for you, man. This thing's going to be gone in 6 months. But all of those rules they're putting in place, they're going to still be there. Get ready for a martial law government.
Peak hour in Australia's second largest city. Tough measures, including an overnight curfew, are in place to slow the spread of COVID-19 as the number of new daily cases remains in the triple digits, and the government is doing everything in its power to make sure people stay in their homes unless it's absolutely necessary. Tough fines have been introduced for anyone breaching isolation.
Apart from emergency medical care, there is literally no reason for you to leave your home. And if you were to leave your home and not be found there, you will have a very difficult time convincing Victoria Police that you had a lawful reason.
We've had to smash the windows of people in cars and pull them out of there so they could provide their details because they weren't telling us where they were going. They weren't adhering to the Chief Health Officer guidelines.
Be in tune with what's going on. Don't be a sheep. Don't believe all the shit you read in all the textbooks and all the other stuff. It was all of it's all owned by them, man. The media. Everything you can think of is they have a hand in all of it. Go and have a good listen to JFK's speech that was done on the Waldorf Astoria 2 years before he got his head blown off. Go and have a listen to the speech. We need to inform each other. We need to wake up. So go and look into some things. And go in with an open mind. Go and look into what the Illuminati actually is. How they got their hand in everything. They've got their hand in the music industry. They've got their hand in the entertainment industry, in the movie industry. They own all of it. Look into the Bilderberg meetings. Look into the Trilateral Commission. Look into the International Monetary Fund.
The Bilderberg Group. A yearly secret meeting of the world's leading politicians, media moguls, business titans, bankers, and royalty, who discuss and dispense their agenda for the coming months and years.
According to a report in WorldNet Daily, some of the richest men and women in the world met secretly in New York recently. When the world's wealthiest individuals hold secret meetings, it's time to pay attention. In 1910, the 6 wealthiest men in the world met at Jekyll Island, Georgia. That meeting resulted in the creation, 3 years later, of the largest criminal enterprise ever devised, the Federal Reserve, so-called. Judging from the list of participants, the recent meeting in New York may result in something even more monumental. The London Times identified them as Bill Gates, David Rockefeller, Ted Turner, Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, George Soros, and New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Based on the Forbes magazine list of billionaires, the room had a net worth of about $120 billion. With all the bailout figures we've heard recently, it doesn't sound like that much. Believe me, it is. $120 billion is about equal to the annual budget for all of New York State, from New York City to Buffalo, and everything in between. The meeting, which took place in early May, was at the home of Sir Paul Nurse, a British Nobel Prize-winning biochemist and president of Rockefeller University. Microsoft's founder, Bill Gates, called the meeting. The London Times reported the informal afternoon session was so discreet that some of the billionaires' aides were told they were at security briefings. Discreet is British way of saying secret. I do not believe that it is coincidental that this meeting came only a couple of weeks after another super secret and more powerful group met in the secrecy in Greece, the Bilderberg Group. They have advocated a one-world government for at least a century. They also see themselves as the elite saviors of mankind. According to the Times, the billionaires were each given 15 minutes to present their favorite cause. Over dinner, they discussed how they might settle on an umbrella cause. Taking their cue from Gates, the report said they agreed that population control was the #1 issue. Experts say the global population will top 7 billion in 2012. According to reports at the meeting, Bill Gates outlined a plan to cap the global population at 8.3 billion. It all sounds so civilized, doesn't it? Here's the less politically correct but more accurate version. A group of unelected liberals with more money than many governments have just decided how many people will be permitted to live. This group of self-appointed governors will now have to draw up criteria to be used to decide who will not be permitted to live and how they will die. It can and will be dressed up in polite and civil terms, but in the end, it means certain people will have to die. The meeting was billed as a meeting of philanthropists wanting to do good. But one can put lipstick and pearls on a pig, and it'll still be a pig. In the final analysis, there's only one way to cap a population, by deciding who's permitted to live, and who, for the good of all, must die.
The Council on Foreign Relations, a private organization that masquerades as a government committee which has tremendous influence over foreign policy and is used to construct the New World Order.
Thank you very much, Richard, and I am delighted to be here in these new headquarters. I have been often to, I guess, the mothership in New York City, but it's good to have an outpost of the Council right here down the street from the State Department. We get a lot of advice from the Council, so this will mean I won't have as far to go to be told what we should be doing and how we should think about the future.
The Trilateral Commission, a private organization set up by David Rockefeller for the purpose of organizing America, Europe, and Japan into the New World Order.
But the Council of Foreign Relations, I thought, was really a fascinating organization. And of course, a lot of people have always raised that question, what about the Trilateral Commission? And they look upon the thing as almost as if it's this conspiracy to snuff out civilization. Could you tell us about the Trilateral Commission?
Yes, I'd be glad to. I say it's very dangerous, with my tongue in cheek, to say the least. But it is true that some groups have said that it was very dangerous. In point of fact, it was an organization that I had a hand in starting at a moment when I felt very concerned that when Japan was becoming a major power in the world, that the Japanese people, leaders of their business and important parts of the Japanese economy, had very little contact with people in the United States and Europe. It seemed to me, as it emerged as a major power of the world, it was very important that Japanese leaders should have a knowledge and an understanding of their counterparts in other parts of the world. So I, with a number of other people, put together an organization which we called the Trilateral Commission to include opinion makers in not only the United States and Europe, but also Japan, so that Japanese leaders, not necessarily top government leaders, but opinion makers, would have a chance to become acquainted with their counterparts.
The Bohemian Grove, a secluded 2,700-acre redwood forest in Northern California where members meet every July to have private discussions of the next year's events, and participate in a human sacrifice ritual to Moloch using a life-size effigy.
Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Bohemia, we thank thee for thy adjuration.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Really?
That's right.
Well, I'm Alex Jones, and I snuck in there in 2000. I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
You do?
I do.
But it's a lot of big public officials going in there. Don't we deserve to know?
I don't know anything about you, and I don't know anything about your film. But if you go in there with an understanding, you violated that understanding by releasing that film, and I don't respect you for that.
Really? But we have public officials there.
I'm sorry, you took an understanding when you went in there that you would not do that film. And did you have an understanding when you went in there?
No.
Did you crash it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it has no trespassing signs there too, doesn't it?
No, they put them up after.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just walked in.
I'm sorry, sir. I've been there before. I know what the circumstances are, and I'm sorry you violated the understandings. That was not a gentlemanly thing to do.
But what about the ritual? Is the ritual genuinely?
Sir, everything I don't owe you this comment.
I know. I appreciate
it. This is what's called ambush journalism, and I disrespect you for that as well. So thank you
ever
and goodbye.
been in the ritual?
That's none of your damn business.
Oh.
Go and have a look into all the things that have happened through the years. Go and be an educated person and imagine you didn't know anything. Imagine you had to just look at facts that are presented in front of you without knowing who to trust, and then ask yourself, where would your common sense and your logic direct you? And you'll find the answer. We chose to be awake. Now it's time to wake up the masses. Now it's time for us to form an alliance and get together. And not just trust all the bullshit we're fed. And more than ever, now it's time for us to stick together. Because the master plan is to get rid of all the physical money so then no one can eat, drink, live without having that microchip in you. Right? And it said, go and read Revelations, mate. It says it in there. Who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust something that was written hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands of years ago? Or are you going to trust some scumbag government that only has their best interests at heart? Think about it.